It's Christmas week, people, and the pond is here in the pond. We are really excited. So much so we're doing 2 movies this week. A Monday video, and by George, we're gonna give you, we're going to try to bring some Christmas cheer, some hope, by going into one of the best Christmas stories of all time. Not the best, but one of the best. So let's get started. Cue the music. Hello, and welcome to this part of the pond, where it's the Bullfrog and the one, the only, Newt.
Face reveal at 100,000 subscribers.
You want to see the face. We need the subscribers. I love this time of year. I love the gift giving, the holiday spirit, but also Christmas cheer. And looks like Christmas cheer is kind of down on the down low. We're having a crappy time. It's been a crappy year. How can, here in the pond, we can do it? Well, we're trying, and we feel like if there's anything that can bring us hope, is to remember our past. And one of the most crucial points in our past, we're going to give you the Christmas Truce of World War I. By listening Silent Night by Stanley Winthrop, I didn't realize how big of a scale this was. It wasn't one incident, it was all over. And it was actually different stories. It was very interesting because the Christmas truce was mostly started by the Germans. I mean, 80%, I think, of what, hey, let's have a ceasefire, was through the Germans. Most of the stories were Germans singing Silent Night and actually putting out these small, those Christmas trees whose name I can't think of right now, putting them on top of their side, and the Allies were seeing these lights, and they had no idea what was going on, and then they heard Germans singing Silent Night. The Allied forces, most of them English-speaking, kind of realized the tune and went, hey, that's Silent Night. And they sang back, and then soldiers, most of the time it was soldiers, not the higher officers, but the soldiers, whether German or Allied, got in no man's land and said, hey, tomorrow's Christmas, let's have a ceasefire and bury our dead. And the Christmas truce, depending on which party you were in Flanders, lasted from 1 day to 6. In one of the stories, again in Silent Night, it talks about how an officer kind of went, hey, the Germans are rolling up a big barrel of beer and they want to say, hey, they want a ceasefire. I'm going. His officer pulled out a pistol and was about to kill him. But other grunts went up with him, so the shot wasn't fired. And it could have happened. The threat of the Christmas truce was weird. People on your own side could have killed you. And it's very famous. There's famous stories throughout all of Flanders. Soccer was being played. And while people are kicking tin cans or a barrel full of beans pretending it's a soccer ball, 800 feet away, some men were still firing. I mean, there's a story where 2 German soldiers were raising up a Christmas tree, and the snipers didn't know what they were doing in the dark and killed both of them. But when the sniper saw it was a Christmas tree they were setting up, the sniper made sure the tree didn't go down. And there's another story how 3 Germans were going to the Allied forces saying, tomorrow's Christmas, let's have a ceasefire. Those 3 dead. Boom, boom, boom. It kind of puts the seriousness and how tensions were. That as peace was happening throughout Flanders, gunshots were still being fired. But the depth of the Christmas truce lies way deeper than Allied soldiers and Germans, because peoples of different faiths and different branches of Christianity were there. I mean, you have Lutherans, different factions of the Catholic Church, Jews, but more than that, there's actually stories of there were Hindus there. And when they saw the lights, they didn't see Christmas, but they saw their holiday. And they said, hey, let's have a ceasefire. Even some Muslims, there's a famous story where a German, had a Christmas tree and he was going in the middle of no man's land in Flanders, and he set this tree down. And shots were taken fired, but then the shots stopped. In the story, one of the reasons why they stopped firing was because he wore this baker's hat, and the Muslims were like, what is this? So they went from firing to stopping, going, what the heck? And the guy says, Merry Christmas, and leaves. It was just the weirdness of that man, but yet still Muslims stopped firing. That Christmas, no matter who you were as a race, where you came from as a people, or no matter your faith, there was peace, very unprecedented during a war. And the newspapers, high officers, didn't let this spread. They tried to contain it. They tried to ignore the fact there was a Christmas truce. But soldiers were sending letters to homes and magazines and papers to the point that the Christmas truce was kind of being shown off, and high officers moved their troops around so it would be new men. So the Christmas truce kind of got killed by the higher ups because the Christmas truce had the potential to end World War I. In an alternate timeline, people, World War I lasted 6 months. And it was stopped by men singing carols, stopped by men who just wanted peace, stopped by men who were exhausted and asked, hey, let's bury the dead. Hey, let's just have a rest. Hey, you want to get that can and start kicking the ball? That is a Christmas story. And it has inspired so much, from one of my favorite Christmas carols, Snoopy's Christmas, and a very famous commercial that was put on YouTube about what happened here. And it's a beautiful commercial, believe it or not, but you can look it up and find it, to this French movie whose name, again, I'm not going to pronounce because I'm not good with names and things. So there's a documentary on the History Channel you can find on YouTube. This was a very important moment. And if there's anything we've learned in history, history does repeat. World War I was unprecedented. We never felt anything like it. But here we are now, where everything's in chaos. Around the time of World War I, there was a virus, as we are dealing with now. Along with World War I, there was political tensions. Well, both sides are saying, keep on fighting, keep on fighting. No matter who you were, political sides, our higher ups, were encouraging us to feud. We were at wit's end. We couldn't take it anymore. We don't feel like we can take it anymore. And it's affecting jobs, it's affecting our lives, and it feels like we're fighting at each other, we're tearing each other apart. But yet, if World War I, the shadow of World War I is being repeated, then the shadow of the Christmas truce can be repeated as well. Whoever you are, your skin, your race, where you come from, your religion, we can still find peace again. And if history can repeat itself as it is now, this Christmas can be peaceful. Whether it can be in your own home, with your neighbors, or with some stranger. We can bring peace. The average man on the field of Flanders ceased fire for a day at least, while other shots were going on. Why not this Christmas? We can do the same. To quote the closing line from Frederick Niven's A Carol from Flanders, O ye that read this truthful rhyme from Flanders, kneel and say, God speed the time when every day shall be Christmas Day.